Welcome to One Set Feeling with Shanky's Clips, where we show you smaller clips of our larger episodes. So keep watching and keep learning. So hi Ravinder, how are you? First of all, I want to ask you, how are you doing?
I'm doing very well, thanks. How are you?
I'm doing great. So before we start, Ravinder, so I've been following you on Instagram for a very long time and seeing your content. Obviously, your books I've read. Uh, we all want to know who is Ravinder in real life, apart from what we have seen you on Instagram or what we have imagined you as on in the books and everything. Who are you in real life, apart from your content, apart from your novels, apart from your work?
Okay. Now, I'm just a regular boy next door. Uh, I write books. I came to Instagram. I again make reels where it's all about written words again.
Yes.
I'm pretty much who I portray myself online and in my books. That is my true character. I think I take charm in the fact that कि मेरी ज़िंदगी खुली किताब की तरह है. So I don't imagine a different character when I'm talking about my character in my books. I don't imagine somebody else's words when I write them on the writing board in my reels. It is sum total of everything that I portray. Maybe what you cannot see is my workout routine, the supplements that I take, my life with my mom and dad. They live with me. Uh, all that. I think what the Instagram world doesn't know is that there's a fun, crazy side to me.
To you.
Yeah, I think I come across as a lot serious person right now. Also, if you are watching me on this very podcast, you are going to think that this is a very serious guy. I am serious in my mind, but there is this other side of me that my friend circle knows me.
Okay, so only your friends know about that. Only
Yeah,
when you're
that
sitting with your
that
friends.
crazy side and chilling and जो भी मुंह में आ रहा है हम बातें कर रहे हैं. That's more of a stress buster for me to become this
This.
serious individual who can talk about what he thinks. I think there's a lot that goes on in my mind. I always feel I have so much to share, talk about. I'm somebody who carries opinions. I'm somebody who doesn't fit into a box, and I want to question certain things, want to challenge certain things. I love disagreements. I love to question why things are the way things are. Why did you vote for a particular party? Or why you are okay with the system? Or why you think relationships should go a certain way? Are you old school, modern, traditional? Whatever you are, why? I'm full of whys and I want to search my answers to
So
them.
there are constant questions going in your head, even like during your free time.
Yeah. It feels like I'm always at work. um, Once my mom came to my room and I was gazing at the sky and she was like, what are you doing? Kya dekh rahe hai?" I said, I'm working. That's how an author works. He's always thinking. But there are constant questions that keep coming to my
But
mind.
when you talk about these thoughts, so we want to get into your mind and understand you,
Sure.
Ravinder.
Yeah.
So when
It's
you
a very
talk,
chaotic world. Let me just warn you.
so when we talk about your thoughts, Ravinder, like,
Hmm.
is it only related to your next work that is coming up, or only related to work, or something
No.
fun,
Oh,
something
oh,
chaotic in your head?
yeah. Half of it is my work. Half of it. So, for example, a gradual thought every morning is कि आज क्या content बनाना है. Okay, that is one thought. Again, it's a work thought.
Work thought.
And then there is a book which is going on. Okay, what should be the next chapter in the book? But largely, these are not the thoughts that bother me so much. There are thoughts that bother me are about the civic sense in this country.
Right.
They bother me big time. I mean, my blood boils. And then I have to think how to calm myself down. There is this anger in me regarding everything that is happening around me. Why don't people stand in a queue? Why do they rush? Why do they spit on roads? Uh, I mean, I live in a country, and I feel we could have been a nicer country if only people had civic sense. How do I stop that individual who has overtaken me wrongly and taken my share of road or my share of that queue? This bothers me. In that moment, I want to correct him, and then I see, oh, there is another guy who's trying to overtake him. So, who do I correct? This bothers me. It becomes a very ripple effect. So, as a country, I mean, we are the fifth largest economy on this planet, but civic sense wise, we are beyond 100th country. That's who we are. It bothers me. And I know if I say this, I once said, every time I come back to India from a trip abroad to a developed, and mind you, there are countries which are way behind in terms of economy. We are way better. Our per capita is way better than them, and yet the civic sense is
Better
way, we are lot behind them. So there are countries like Kazakhstan, for that matter, very clean countries.
You've been to Kazakhstan?
A friend of mine was talking about it. I had been to so many other countries which are way behind. I was in Bangkok. I was in Singapore. Singapore is still a far better country economically. But Thailand, I was there. People had that civic sense. We have such a huge shoreline. Our water could be so cleaner, but we chose to look the other way around. So I feel as a country, and because I am so I mentioned on my post, I feel sad that we are not a country of so many good people who care about environment. And somebody said, if you want to say this, get out of this country.
Oh, someone commented.
Someone commented, अगर तुम्हें इतनी problem है तो छोड़ के चले जाओ. And then somebody is questioning me that you are not patriotic enough. I said, because I am patriotic enough is why I'm concerned about this country. And because you are not is why you give a damn about, whatever we do. This whole chalta hai attitude. Now there are foreigners coming to our country and saying that, we can't play cricket or badminton in open air over here because the air is polluted. There are people who went back to their own countries. The air is, you can't breathe in this air. It is a national shame. Now, who is the patriotic here? So all of these things bother me a lot. मेरा खून खौलता है इनसे.
So moving on to something that I have grown to, Ravindra, like the very first novel of my life that I read was I Too Had a Love Story. And I think it changed a different perspective. And trust me, I'm not kidding you. I think after that novel, I had a very different perspective about love. And the whole idea of love, relationships, heartbreaks. And if you see today, that is exactly what I'm doing around. My content is around love and relationships, heartbreaks. I do podcast on love and relationships. So I think a lot has been also inspired from your book when I read it when I was in 10th grade. So moving to your very first book, I Too Had a Love Story, I think that was 2008 if I'm not wrong.
Correct.
So I want to understand, Ravindra, the whole plot of that story, the whole character of the story, how did it come to you? And we also want to know, was some part of the book related to your real life as well? How much was it related to? And how did that whole idea of writing your first book come into the picture?
So, the idea of the plot and story didn't come to me. I lived that story. It is my story, entire, from the very beginning till the very end. But I had never thought of writing that story. I wrote it as catharsis. I was in a lot of pain. I didn't know what to do with my life. An unfortunate tragedy. People who have read the book would know that I was 26 back then, had fallen in love for the very first time, was about to marry my first love when she met with a car accident and she died. And all of this happened in the same week wherein we were supposed to get engaged. So the trauma hit me very hard. I didn't know how to deal with that chaos. On one end, we are planning a damn nice reception. I remember all the gifts placed in my house. The wedding ring was there. And on the other hand, we all go to the Gurudwara for a whole different purpose. That instead of getting engaged, we are now gathered there for the last rites of somebody who I was in love with. So my world just changed so drastically. And at 26, I didn't know how to process this heartbreak for the very first time in my life. It's like you jump from the highest high to the lowest low of your life. And all that I could think of was that I need to write this story. That will be my closure. That's how I felt. So I would cry myself to sleep every night, and this kept happening for 3 months. When evening would fall, I would wonder how to deal with this evening because I felt it's going to suck me. Evenings were the black holes of my life. I tend to avoid them. There was this weird kind of loneliness. I wanted to be lost among people, so I started looking forward to mornings. I started looking forward to weekdays. I was working with Infosys back then, Infosys Bhubaneswar. A good part of that book was written in Bhubaneswar, and the other half was written in Chandigarh, Infosys. I hated weekends because that meant loneliness.
That will leave you alone.
Alone, yeah. So and fortunately, in corporate offices like Infosys, there were like 4,000 people. I would be lost among those 4,000 people. I never wanted to come back to my home. So it was one weekend wherein I felt what to do with my life. And back then, there was this calendar on my wall. There was this picture of Guru Nanak Dev in it, and I entered a monologue with him, and I felt like you took her away. I I begged you, I prayed to you to spare her. It didn't happen. Now you wait and watch. I will bring her back in this world in my own way. I started writing about her. Absolutely no idea what will become of this. I felt like um, I was in so much of pain that I felt I have to share my grief with hundreds of people. Only then I will be at ease. It happens when you feel that if you're happy, you want to share your happiness with others in order to multiply that happiness. And if you are grieving, if you are unhappy, you want to share it with multiple people so that you reduce your pain. And I felt like I need to share it with hundreds and thousands of people to reduce the pain that I was in. So that's how I started writing that book of
And
mine.
when was this? Like after the whole incident happened?
After the whole incident, 2007. So February 22nd, 22nd February 2007 is when she passed away. 9th of February 2007 is when she had met with an accident. And ever since then, she was in hospital. I was in hospital, and we could not save her. 3 months later, I started writing that book. So 2007 entirely went into this. In 2008, the entire first half went into writing. The second half what was about finding a publisher. And December 1st, 2008, the book came out.
If you've liked these shorter clips here, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. And to watch the full podcast of these same clips, you can go to our main channel and watch the whole podcast. Until then, see you.